Hello everybody and welcome to the midweek market update from Smack the Markets for the 13th of November. So far this week we've had a rather light news schedule on the fundamental calendar. That's likely to sort of change a little bit now, getting back to normal levels coming into the second half of the week. Today we've got Mr. Powell's testimony. That's always very closely watched by the markets. And of course the main sentiment is also continuously driven by the US and China sort of trade deal and the sort of optimism around that and the progression of that arrangement. Also, we've got Mr. Trump's impeachment inquiry now being televised from today. So it remains to be seen how that sort of impacts on market sentiment as well. So let's take a look at a few markets here that we discussed on Monday and some of the opportunities that we're looking at going into the second half of the week. So first of all, if we come and take a look at the Dow Futures contract here, from Monday, what we were looking for was the market to put in a higher low. We suggested that the context of the trend here, that the market may well sort of find a bit of support at 27,500, and we were looking for the market to sort of continue on to make new highs. Now, the market did find support at 27,500. It's managed to sort of make that move up, back up again, back up to sort of equal highs really around the sort of 27,700 area here. So it's got to equal highs. But when it did that, it put in sort of weaker momentum within the context of that trend in order to get there. So it's not surprising that we're seeing a bit of weakness coming into the market now. So what we're looking for here is sort of retracements back into support levels. Obviously 27,500 now a key one here, and that's the first one on our list. Underneath that, we've got around 27,400, and there are various others underneath that. Predominantly our main bias here is still long on these markets for as long as these trends stay intact, and even if we get back into 27,500, the technical trend here still looks intact on these sort of 4-hour time frames. But if it breaks below that, then of course it's going to be a bit of a different story. The reason that, or the thing that's been actually driving the optimism on these markets has been the progression of the US and China trade negotiations and that phase one deal. So it's mainly going to be news flow that's going to impact on the sort of direction and the sentiment of these markets sort of going forward, I expect. Now, coming into the commodities, silver, we looked at silver on Monday. We were looking for the market to sort of pull up maybe some sort of retracement and looking at opportunities down here within this trading window from 17 down to around the sort of 16,300 sort of zone here. Now, the market did pull back in on the 4-hour time frame. It's then continued to move down again. But the 4-hour trend is now sort of broken, and we're getting that bit of a deeper retracement here on the silver market. So again, silver looking like 1700 looks like a very nice area for the market to sort of pull back into. It's a very sort of strong support area, likely to be a bit of resistance there. So we'll certainly be looking at areas around there for resistance and to see if there are positioning opportunities for a continuation on the short side. Now, for new opportunities going forward as well, gold is looking extremely similar. So gold is sort of breaking off that or bouncing off that 1460 level, as we can see here. Again, still looking rather nice to the short side. With gold, I'd rather see the market underneath 1460 before looking at opportunities, or indeed if we get a decent size retracement, and then we can sort of get some plenty of space back down towards that level again for any trading opportunities. But the trends are still looking sort of rather weak here on precious metals, and our bias is still for opportunities to the short side. Now, on Monday, we also looked at Aussie dollar, and what we were looking at here was a break of this level that I sort of discussed how that level sort of corresponds with multiple time frames all the way up to the weekly chart. Now, the market did break through that level. It's continued to weaken here. It sort of put in sort of a bit of a sideways consolidation here, as you can see, quite a bit of volatility and a bit of a sideways consolidation after this sort of break, because this really does, from a technical perspective, it sort of changes the structure of the market right up to the weekly chart. So with the markets now underneath there, we've got this sort of trading window down to around that sort of 68.10 sort of area, just above that 68 level. And we're still liking this to the short side, but because the market's had this sort of consolidation here, we're looking at a little bit more confirmation before looking at new entries here. So if we come down to the 60-minute chart, you can see on the 60-minute chart, we've got a pivot point through here where the market sort of tested this sort of lower level a good sort of several times here now. So we'd rather see the market sort of underneath this level, break through here first. And that will give us the evidence that we've got the weakness here, and this support now has now been surpassed. So that still leaves sort of plenty of opportunity within that sort of trading window short here on Aussie dollar. Other markets that we're keen on at the moment going into the second half of the week is dollar CAD. Now the dollar CAD here is looking extremely strong across these time frames, certainly the mid time frames here. And we can see on the 4-hour time frame, we've got a very well structured market here, good trend and good quality trend. And the market's just broken through into a new trading window here. So from 132.50 up to around that sort of 133 zone here, you can see that there's quite a nice sort of trading window there. So again, looking at opportunities in between these sort of two price points as that trend continues there. So there's a few opportunities there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room going into the second half of the week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.